Have you ever noticed how awakening tends to show up precisely when you stop looking for it? Like that thing you misplace magically appears the moment you give up the search? Funny how that works, isn't it? I once had a student, let's call her Maya, who was relentless, and I mean that in the best, kindest way. She showed up to every retreat, devoured every teaching that was offered. She meditated like her life depended on it. If there was a practice, she mastered it. If there was a text, she studied it. She was the spiritual equivalent of an Olympic athlete. Then one day, years into her journey, she walked into my office with this gentle kind of smile. Not the finally I got it smile, but something softer. Almost amused, she said, "You know what? I've been practicing so hard to find awakening. And then I got so exhausted from searching that I stopped." And there it was. When I stopped, there it was. My true self just sitting there, like it had been waiting for me to quit, searching and struggling the whole time. Her words reminded me of a T.S. Eliot poem. "We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time." All that seeking brought her right back home to what was always there. But now she could actually see it. So eventually, in our spiritual searching, you could say that the magic wears off. And here's what nobody tells you about the spiritual path, that eventually the magic of it does wear off, and it does get boring. The practices that you engaged in that made you feel alive and transformative, they start to feel mechanical and boring, like you're just kind of going through the motions. That the teachings that used to light you up sound repetitive. You've done all the things, you've meditated, perhaps you've journaled, you've contemplated, you've surrendered, you've inquired, and still it feels like something's missing and there's something incomplete. You might catch yourself thinking, okay, I've done everything on the list, so where's my big insight? Where's my awakening? If you're feeling this way right now, I have good news and I have bad news. The bad news, you're exhausted. The good news, this exhaustion is sacred. It's not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're finally seeing through the whole game. You're seeing through the intoxicating chase, the seeking. And let's be honest, seeking is kind of addictive, right? Have you noticed that? There's always another book that might hold the secret, another teacher who seems to really get it, another retreat, another technique, another this one that'll finally do it. At first, this feels purposeful, perhaps even noble. You're on a journey and you feel like you're growing. But underneath all that noble striving, there's this whisper, I'm not enough yet. This moment is not enough yet. That's that subtle sense of quite not there. It's what keeps the whole wheel spinning. The more we seek, the more real the seeker becomes. The more we strive, the more solid the I who strives feels. And here's the kicker. The very energy that started as longing for truth becomes the thing that hides it. You can't willpower your way out of this because willpower is the problem. It's like trying to use a treadmill to escape the treadmill. Eventually, You just have to step off the treadmill. So what happens when you finally get too tired to keep running, to keep chasing? At first, it might feel like failure, maybe even despair. The mind says, what's the point of any of this? But here's where it gets interesting. If you can resist the urge to immediately fill that void with something new, like a new practice or some kind of new project, a new distraction, something else starts to unfold. A strange, you could say, quiet opens up. It's not the relief of finally getting what you wanted. It's the peace of no longer needing anything to be different. You start to notice that life just happens. Breath moves, sensations flow, thoughts come and go, and you realize all that effort you were putting into becoming awake.
That's right.
You're already awake. Life was already awake the whole time. You were just too busy to notice. And this isn't the end of growth. It's the end of chasing. I have a bit of a confession. I need to be honest here with you. I've hit this wall many times myself. There were periods where I just didn't care about the practice anymore, about awakening, about any of it. And you know what I did? I filled that emptiness with distractions, new projects, busy work, anything to avoid just resting in that stillness, in that void. Now, looking back, I see now that I was running from the very thing I'd been searching for. So I'm sharing this with you in the hope that maybe, just maybe, you can do what I didn't. Let the exhaustion be your teacher when that sacred fatigue arrives. Resist the ego's impulse to plug that hole. Let the void just be a void for a while. See what emerges when you're not scrambling to fix, to improve, to transcend even. Because here's the secret. The peace you're seeking doesn't show up when you finally get it or you finally succeed. It shows up when you stop trying to get it or trying to succeed. You're already there. Another way to put it is the seeker can't rest. Rest for the seeker means it's death. But you can rest. You can let the effort soften, the grip loosen, the whole exhausting project of self-improvement just settle. And as the exhaustion deepens into acceptance, something shifts. It's subtle but unmistakable. The sense of I, the one who's been seeking, begins to fall away, to fade. And what's left isn't blank or empty. It's awake. It's intimate. There's an intimacy with life. It's effortless. You start to see that awakening was never about climbing the ladder. It's about stepping off of it. Another way to put it, the clouds don't part because you push them away. They dissolve when you stop chasing the sun. From this stillness, everything you were seeking, whether it's peace, clarity, wholeness, simply reveals itself. And not as something that you've found, but as what was always here. I'll offer you, as we near the end, a simple practice. They call it the pause of enough. You can try it right now or any time you catch yourself in the grip of striving and seeking. when you notice yourself trying to improve or fix or strive for something, simply pause and ask yourself, what if this moment were already enough? Don't rush to answer it. Don't turn to another task. Just let the question hang. What if this moment were enough? And feel what happens in your body when the mind stops reaching. Maybe there's a flicker of ease, stillness, a softening, even just for a few seconds. That flicker, it's not the finish line. It's the space where the seeker finally gets to rest. And the seeker's exhaustion and rest isn't the end of your path. It's the beginning of true resting. It's life tapping you on the shoulder and saying, hey, stop running. You're already home. That when the seeking drops away, what remains is kind of an effortless awareness. The peace that was never missing, just buried beneath all the chasing. So if I could give you one sentence to take away from this, it would be this: when seeking fails, truth begins. Next week in part 6, we're diving into the hidden seeker, sort of how the ego disguises itself behind spiritual goals. Because even after we've stopped seeking, the seeker cleverly sneaks back in. If you found this talk helpful, please hit the like button. I'd love to hear your comments about how you've experienced this spiritual exhaustion. See you next time, and in the meantime, rest.